All right, we're good to go.
Okay. I would like to call to order the February 16th, 2021 Senior Services Advisory Council. We're meeting electronically pursuant to Executive Order 71 issued by Governor Bill Lee. The board is not meeting in a physical location in order to protect public health, safety, and welfare. This meeting is being recorded and will be available to the public via the city's YouTube page, accessible at johnsoncitytn.org/meetings, no later than 2 business days from the date of today's meeting. So we're officially going. I hope you've all had a chance to read the minutes of the January meeting. If you have any suggestions for changes or corrections or additions, now's the time to say so.
Hey, Bruce, what we might need to do is mute everybody until they're ready to speak, because I'm getting a feedback over here.
Okay.
Well, I make a move that we accept the minutes of the January meeting as read.
Hey,
I'll
Maureen.
second. How about-
And Alice seconded. In case you don't know, when you're muted, if you want to unmute just for a few seconds, all you have to do is hit the space bar. And then when you let go of the space bar, you're muted again. Okay, everybody who agrees to the minutes as presented, please raise a hand so we can see you. Good. Looks like all the hands, so there's unanimous. I guess Rebecca's not here. Deb, is there anything from the foundation that we should know?
Let me see if she's in the waiting. For a couple different things, we are the project Spring Forward for Seniors is on go. That we'll be delivering the last week of March, and we've already started to purchase some of the products because they're saying that the shelf, it's hard to get some of these things, so we're already putting those bids out for folks. We're starting to make our list to call folks, but the sad thing is that from last year's list, we have about 25 that we found that are deceased from last year.
Oh my.
And so, we're trying to find at least enough for 200 folks in order to be able to supply those food items and household good items. So we're working diligent with that. I've got Donna working on trying to find folks, and Missy Nelson also trying to find folks. With that project, there will be we're going to send out, the foundation would like to do a 1-week donation period so that you can go online through ActiveNet, which is a part of the Parks and Rec program. And I'll send that out next week as a flyer, and you can just go on for anybody who would like to make a donation by credit card. They're doing March 1st through March the 7th that you can go online and make an actual donation, and all that donations will go towards Spring Forward for Seniors. That's the only way we can do a credit card donation, or you can send in a donation, of course, send in a check to the center. But you have to go through a couple of different screens, but I'll send that out. So, but it's in the Parks and Rec webpage, off of the city webpage. And then the other thing that the foundation is starting to work on is a golf tournament in May. So we're hoping, since a lot of things we can play golf, So we're hoping that might be a way to revamp and come back and do another fundraiser for the foundation and for the center. And I think that's about all that we've got for foundation update.
Okay. Moving on to old business. We talked last month a little bit about the Appalachian Pharmacy Grant. What do we need to know about that?
Essentially, we've met. There was a group, and Debbie Clausen was part of this group. We've met and talked about the grant. And I received an email from Lexi Close, who is the actual coordinator for the applying for the grant, and that's through ARCD. There was a request to send out a survey to SNAP participants in getting their feedback on the proposed produce prescription. So I sent that out through last Wednesday's email. It's only for SNAP participants. So hopefully there will be a lot of those individuals that will fill out that survey. We're looking to launch the program in 2022, but it'll be similar to what the pharmacy program was before. And we had, I think, about 50 some from the center that we were working with for the pharmacy program before.
Yeah, and the Johnson City Senior Center was such a big player in the whole process, and it was so essential to the work going forward. And this is what's so exciting. They're really expanding their partnerships. They're going to have working with 5 farmers markets all around the region, including Abingdon, Jonesboro, Kingsport, Bristol, Johnson City. And so the grant will be due mid-March. So hopefully they'll find out a few months after that. So, yeah.
Sounds encouraging. New business communication plan to members. I see that on our strategic plan, goal number 4 is to somehow improve this. So how can we improve our communication to our members? Anybody have any suggestions?
I was looking at that and I looked at goal 3 too, because it seemed to me that they kind of correlated. No, it wasn't goal 3. I'm sorry. It should have said goal 2. Well, maybe that wasn't it either. Well, I don't know now. I'm gonna have to look at my notes.
Okay.
Technology.
Okay.
Goal 2 is identify and utilize opportunities to enhance technology within the center. So yeah, that would certainly overlap some.
Yeah.
Have you all investigated, the possibilities or opportunities in the items listed in the strategic plan in possibly creating a podcast or the monthly preview, getting information out on YouTube?
Yes, we will pursue that. And we're looking at all of those things as part of that strategic plan. Just wanted to sort of get, because some of you are members of the center and are participating and are already receiving things. Already have an idea to extend our weekly Hump Day news that we're sending out, that we'll do that as a news and still keep sort of the camel, and it's a Hump Day that goes out every Wednesday. Just as one thing, it won't be as extensive as the ones going out right now, but it'll be just something that's a very quick highlight to enlighten and then also brighten everyone's day, and then sort of highlight the things that are coming up in the next week, so that we're keeping things in front of members of what's happening at the center. So anything that you all, and of course YouTube and the podcast and some other things. One thing we need to find out from our members is what do they actually go? Because only until we sent out the survey did we know how many people actually read those Hump Day emails. So we're finding that more and more folks are doing that. And then yesterday we sent out an email asking people who were 70 and above if they were interested in us being a site for the vaccine. And so we've gotten phone calls and emails galore back. So they are reading emails, but there's not all of our folks that have emails. Some of them. And then our next challenge is, even with phone calls, is that folks, if you don't know the number, then you don't answer the phone. And sometimes seniors don't set up their voicemail boxes so that we can't leave a voicemail or a message. So we're challenged some with that. So just trying to get some more, because communication always is something that we need to improve. And we'll work not only in communication between our staff, but also between our members and our staff members too. So looking for just some ideas from you all. We do have it as one of our goals coming up in the next year about improving communication to members along with their strategic.
Is it communication or just getting information to them? Because communication would mean there would be a two-way. If we just want to get information, we could maybe send out some flyers to maybe the local grocery stores.
Usually instead of the flyers, we'll still have our lifestyle newsletter that goes out, and that goes out to all the grocery stores, and they're delivered in multiple places.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I'd never seen them in the grocery store. I was thinking about something you could just summarize things and, when they put your groceries in, just drop them in the grocery thing. If they look like they're like 60 or over, 50 or over.
Mm-hmm.
And churches. I don't know if you send any out to the churches.
Okay, we do not.
I think the idea of sending out an electronic heads up to the various churches is a great idea. I do. I think in terms of putting a physical print flyer out in the grocery stores in this time of COVID, it's probably one step too much to ask of individuals. I myself don't want to have anything to do other than getting my groceries in and out. And I don't want anything around the sanitation of the checkouts. But one of the things I was thinking that does come to the houses, just about everybody's house, is the weekly, I think it's News and Neighbors or the Broadcaster. If you follow it, you'll note since the lockdown, there's little information. So they're really looking to have information to share. And I think doing perhaps a monthly bulletin, getting it to them, let them have that to put in their issue might be a good way of getting information out. But it's an output and not an input. And I think Alice's distinction is an important one. But for outgoing, you might want to consider that.
Yeah. And we don't get News and Neighbor in our
We don't
box.
Could we consider having a few public service announcements on, for example, WTS FM radio?
My experience is that it's very simple to do that. You just go online, you put yourself in. There is a minimum number of words, so you would have to be very succinct in doing it, but I think it's a great idea. And I might also suggest perhaps having a standing presence at Tri-Cities morning show. I can't remember the name of it. Good Morning Tri-Cities or something like that.
Parks and Rec does have a slot And we are there, but we share that with other Parks and Rec folks. So we can't be the one that's always there, but anytime we have special programs, then we're always, and we have to go through our marketing for Parks and Rec. And then also we have a communication and relations department that we have to go through too. But we are on the daytime Tri-Cities. And then we also are on the noon show and can get on those. And that goes through Mary Ann with our marketing department.
Any other suggestions?
Perhaps too, when the farmers markets start opening again, it would be possible to have some type of promotion or marketing idea to address people who come to the farmers markets, both in Jonesboro and Johnson City, maybe a little pamphlet or something to alert them to the fact that there aren't many things going on at the community center.
I'm writing all these down.
Any other ideas popping up?
I have one, it may be a little bit too far out for the moment, but I have, because of the camera club, a tendency to hang around and photograph downtown all throughout the year. And what I do is I meet a lot of people. Many of them are individuals, two types, young families, and then potential retirees who are coming into the Johnson City area looking around for, is this a possibility for us to set up our new homestead? And so I talk with them and share information. One of the things that I thought might be that for the senior centers, the members who are so inclined to be perhaps ambassadors for the senior center might go on a regular basis for just a walkabout. Meet, greet, give some information about the city, the chamber, and most particularly the senior center. So, little name tag or a shirt or something to identify themselves. That's it.
You got enough ideas, Deb?
I do. The last one we did add to the strategic plan that Maureen had about the ambassador.
Mhm.
So that was added to the strategic plan.
It sounded familiar. Hello, Rebecca. Glad to see you. Deb gave us a pretty good summary of the foundation news, but
Well, I'm sorry about my tardiness, and I'm going to have to probably zip off here in a minute. I've got contractors here, and one of my clients had something that's went crazy, so I will probably have to skip out here in a little bit, but I apologize for that.
it's all right. She represented you pretty well, I think.
I just encourage everybody to, if you can, help us with the senior box program through donations, through sponsorships, and helping pack and deliver. So I think Deb probably updated you with their location and the dates and everything. So I appreciate that.
Okay. Moving
What are the
on.
dates again, Becky? What are the dates
Give
again?
me just 1 second. We're still working on the distribution dates because Deb's got to fix her schedule because we're going to be doing it at her church. So we're probably going to have some evening hours. But I think we said the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of March. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Monday,
We'll
Tuesday,
we'll get the food in the 22nd, and it'll be delivered to the church from various places. And then we're looking at starting to pack the 23rd, and then if we need the 24th to do some morning times and and evening times and try to spread everybody out so we can stay social distancing and keep everybody safe.
And then the delivery the week of the 29th. We're still working on some, working with Deb on that too. We were going to do that week, but since Deb has to be there, we're going to try to rearrange that schedule so we can send an email out to everybody when we get that finalized with her schedule, since she has to be there, so that we can make it convenient for I'm sorry, and for the staff. I got kicked off there. So we can send everybody out an email when we finalize that.
Any other questions or comments about the
And we are bringing back the golf tournament
The golf
sometime this
tournament.
year, so everybody be ready to play some golf. And eventually we'll get a pickleball for the pickleballers. Just hold on. We got to wait till all this mess is over so we can pick a good date and not have to worry about it getting canceled? So pickleball's still in the works, so we didn't forget about you.
Okay, moving on then to action item. The whole strategic plan has been finalized, I guess, and everybody should have had a chance to look at it. Of course, Deb sent it out with the announcement of this meeting. What do we need to do about it, Deb?
Well, first thing, let me just say, I appreciate Mickey's input and everybody else's input, on the strategic, because it was the committee that we formed when we started working on our accreditation. And so a lot of you folks are on that and have helped with this. And then I did receive some feedback from various folks, and I've tried to put those new ideas and suggestions in the strategic plan. I added, when I sent out the invitation yesterday, in red, we added another area, some action items in the evaluation part. So just trying to see if one, because it has to be approved by advisory council, and we do have to have a strategic plan for our accreditation team when they actually review. We have to have that when they come either virtually or in person to accredit us for another 5 years.
May I, since Mickey is on the conference call here, in the strategic plan number 1A, where it talks about the role of ETSU conducting training, evaluation training for the staff, Mickey, might I ask you comfort with appropriateness of perhaps videotaping the training that the ETS folks conduct and using that as an orientation for new staff that will come on, or just having it in a catalog, so when a staff person is looking at the option of evaluating a new program, they can go back into the archives rather than waiting a year for another one. So if you could respond.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea and definitely doable. That's something we're trying to shift to in higher ed, as well as having some of these things recorded, the things that aren't going to change over a period of time so they can be accessed whenever you need them. But I don't see that presenting an issue at all. And now too with Zoom, there are opportunities as well if we wanted to have more of an interactive approach, that gives us a little more flexibility in being able to do that, in this remote environment. But I think that's a great suggestion, Maureen. Thank you.
Any other suggestions? All right, do we have a motion to approve the Senior Center strategic plan for the next 5 years?
I move that we accept the strategic plan with the additions that have been noted prior to, and perhaps in addition to comments made today.
A second.
Okay, Maureen and Kendra. Any other comments before we take a vote? All right, all in favor, raise a hand. Good, looks unanimous. Nobody opposed.
Thanks you all.
Yeah, it's an excellent document.
Where does this
Thank you,
go?
Deb, for all you do.
Yeah, good job.
Where does this go next? To the city council or?
No, I don't think so. I think it just needs to go through advisory and then the next step is for us to implement it or get it started.
Mhm.
We will give this to our accreditation person when they come or prior to, and then go from there.
All right. Good. Information, Deb, vaccine and reopening plans.
Vaccine, we have been asked, the senior centers have been asked by the Tennessee Commission on Aging with help in getting 70 plus folks vaccinated. So they put out a request to see if centers would be interested if we had 50 to 100 folks that we potentially could identify to be vaccinated. So as I said yesterday, we sent out an email. We sent out an email to over 2,070 plus individuals that we have on our records for folks. And right now we have about 64 that we've gotten information back that they would be interested in us being a site. And we don't know that. I sent all that information to the TCAD this morning. So we may become a site within the next 2 weeks. So any of you that are 70 and up, and I understand that they have opened it for 65, but we're just looking at 70 and above to try to get folks vaccinated. Our meeting, when we had a conference call last week with TCAD, they were saying in the state of Tennessee, 1/3 of those folks 70 and above had been vaccinated. And there's still 2/3 of folks out there. So they're trying to get as many folks as they can vaccinated. They think it's transportation issues and some other things. So we're working toward that. So if you know of folks who are 70 and above and haven't had their vaccination yet, or do not have a date scheduled for their vaccination or haven't even reserved a spot, then have them give us a call. As I say, they're only looking at about 100. So it'll be one of those. It won't be like the Bristol Motor Speedway. We're not going to have cars and cars and cars and cars here, but we'll have to schedule that. But there is a possibility. And then we would arrange with the health department for them to come at a certain date, and then we get that information and schedule those folks. So it's not for those people that have already had their vaccination, the first shot. You can't come here to get their second shot. This would be, you get your first shot here, and then we'd schedule again for your second shot here. And I don't know just yet whether we'll be one of those. I know Jonesboro has also put out a request. So that's where we stand for that one. So we could be a testing site, and that's a drive-through testing site that they would drive through here and get their vaccine.
Do you know which vaccination it is?
I do not. I don't know, Phil. I'm not sure which one they're looking at. And I'm not sure which one the health department has, or I don't know. Those are some questions I don't know.
So
Yeah.
Deb, the process would be to phone the senior center. Did you say that was the process would be to telephone the senior?
They need to give us a call. And here's the number. So it's 434-6236, and that goes directly to David. He's keeping the list.
Would you repeat that, please?
Sure. 434-6236. And what we'll do is, I say we're keeping a list, And so, once we get 100 folks, then it'll probably be, it's the first 100 that we get. And we're trying to get, and they may say it's done well and they may do it again. I don't know. But that's where we are right now, and trying to get as many folks vaccinated as we can.
Would that be just Washington County, Johnson City residents, or anybody at the center? What's the criteria for that?
It's, we're looking mostly at our members that we have for sure. And by having over 2,000 that we sent out, then, we're trying to get those people. It won't be that you can come from out of state and come in and get here and do it. But, they're also looking at, if we have other centers that they may be able to, like Elizabethton, if they know they have some folks from Elizabethton Center, they could come here if we don't have all enough to meet 100. I'm not sure how they're going to work all of that out.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because at the Speedway, anybody that's a state of I thought was just Sullivan County, but it's not. If you're a state of Tennessee resident and you show up at the Speedway, they're going to give you a shot if you meet the criteria for that phases. So that's why I was asking.
Yeah, these people are going to actually be registered, actually be signed up, and they'll be at a slot, and they'll have a time where they'll have to come. And so we'll know who they are in advance.
Deb, I have a question. Must they come by car? Could they come by foot?
Well, they can come by foot. The only problem is they're going to be standing outside for 15 minutes or longer, or an hour.
Yeah.
It's not
the reason why
done in the building.
The reason why I bring that up is that I've just finished the lunch at the Melting Pot, which is the Methodist church just downtown. And I was very surprised and saddened to see the number of older people online for the free lunch. But the sadness for me were how many I knew from the senior center. And I'm wondering if we do not come from our senior center list with the 100, perhaps reaching out to Mr. Chauncey at the Melting Pot and say, we have X number of spots, and if you can get the people who are 70 or older to call this number, we'll be glad to get them their shots. They'd have to come to the senior center, and hopefully the weather gets warm. The shot is given and they sit somewhere on a step or a chair until the 15 minutes is over. Just a thought.
Yeah, that we may need to bring that up to the TCAD and seeing what the health department is thinking about, that are homeless, who are going someplace else like that. They don't have, that's our biggest thing is transportation, but I can't provide, transportation just because of some of the restrictions from the city with using our transportation vehicles and buses. And then again, you're looking at least an hour for folks to be here at one spot, and it's all outside. It's not anything that's within the building.
Okay, what do you have to tell us about reopening?
Well, I thought I was going to have some news, but I don't have any. The only thing that I have is that a proposal has been submitted for reopening, but there's lots of people that have to put hands and eyes on that, not only within the city, but also with the health department, with city commission, with Ballard Health, and all of those factors, and the numbers still have to stay down. So I may know something toward the end of the week. I'm not sure, but we're closer than what we were a year ago. Let me say that. So that's all I can say. I was just hoping that we might have some more information that we could share of when we might be able to reopen. But we're working toward that diligently to try to get things to reopen. But it'll be slow when we do reopen. There'll be, we'll still be 6 foot distancing. We'll still be taking temperatures. We'll still be masking, and all of that.
I'm also on the residents council of the Cornerstone Village, and we had a meeting at 1 o'clock this afternoon. It's been a busy afternoon. And it was all about reopening, and they are starting Monday to reopen with a lot of caution. The dining halls and so forth, the people have been eating in their rooms in the village, and they're hoping to be able to open for meals on Monday and keep that going. But with social distancing, just so many tables and so many people at each table, et cetera. So a lot of that is starting with the retirement centers in the area. We've all been vaccinated twice now, so that is done, and 2 weeks after the second shot is Monday. So it's we'll just have to see what happens as a result of a little bit of relaxation, at least in the community in general. Okay, is there any other business for the council?
I just want to ask Debbie one other question here. If you can't get your 100, would you consider going back to the 65 and older for your vaccination?
See, this is not something that we're in control of. This is the Tennessee Commission on Aging. So they're telling us 70 and above right now. I know that 65 is, they've opened it to the new 65 with the comorbidities. They're in that next phase for Washington County. But for us right here, we're looking at now, we are getting people who are calling where their spouse is 70, but then their other spouse is not 70 yet. So I put the question in as could we do both individuals even though they're both not 70? And I don't know that until they bring that back. So if that's the case, that may be we may be closer to that 100 because we do have some folks who one spouse is 70, the other spouse is 68, 69.
Right.
But we were given the direction of 70 plus.
Okay.
Hey, Deb,
Uh-huh.
I have a question too, pursuant to what Bruce was talking about with the cornerstone of everybody getting their COVID. As the center reopens, would that be a requirement for participants to have had their COVID vaccinations?
We're not looking at that right now. That would be one of those that would have to go through a legal
Okay, right.
classification, and legal is looking at our reopening plan. We have submitted a reopening plan. It's similar to what the one with a few changes in the November when we were looking at reopening in November. So they're looking at that, but that's going through risk management, legal. Lots of people are, putting their hands on that and their eyes on that. So I'm not sure if we could do that and say if you weren't vaccinated that you couldn't come in the center.
Right, that's understandable. And I didn't know if that was part of, what you all have to go through.
We have not. And see, depending on when we do open, a lot of time, well, right now, if you look at the 65-year-olds who have no comorbidities, it's into March before they are even eligible to start getting a vaccine.
Sure, right,
So-
okay, just wondering.
Yep.
Thanks.
We've had questions about that. Can we open it for just people who are vaccinated?
Right. No, not really, not technically, legally.
Because it's not just a senior center, but it's a community center. So realize that you have recreation folks and younger folks too, who if we open up one part or if we close one part, then the building, and that's what we've done this whole pandemic, is that if one is closed, then both have to be closed.
Exactly. Good deal. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else? Okay, we'll adjourn this meeting and meet again on March 16th, 1 month from today.
Thanks, you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.